All right, let's bring in our panel on this. Mark Furnish, criminal defense attorney who's argued before the Supreme Court. He's a professor as well at Brooklyn Law. Dominic Carter, political journalist and author. Former Connecticut Congressman Chris Shays and Andrew Whitman, who you've already met. And Congressman, I'll start with you. There's open-ended questions. We don't know all the facts as of yet, but already some folks on Capitol Hill are pointing the finger at the FBI, saying they dropped the ball. In a post-9/11 context, how much has the intelligence communities changed, whether it comes to sharing intelligence, making brighter lines so that there's not as much bureaucracy, and if there's a credible lead that they can follow it? Is it different than it was 12 years ago?
So it's 2013, and we haven't had an attack like this basically since 2001. We did have the attack, obviously, in Oklahoma, but that was before. So the FBI has done a hell of a good job. They've stopped a number of circumstances that could have turned out just like this, but you get no credit. But you know, you're going to be contacted by so many different people, so many different governments, and you'll always be able to determine, well, gosh, they should have followed up on this. Anything that gets through, in a sense, they should have followed up.
You sat on the Intelligence Committee, and obviously I'm not going to ask you to divulge even post-fact any confidential information, but would the general public be surprised how much comes in that has to be filtered, or how much it's problematic when you're dealing with foreign countries that aren't cooperative? What are the biggest handicaps to making this more seamless than maybe it could be?
Well, in 2001, if we had just taken advantage of public information and coordinated and integrated it, we would have been able to stop that attack. But the bottom line is we are so much better off than we were before. We do talk to each other. I suspect that because it was Chechnya and it was the Russians, we kind of said, you know, they're terrorists, but they're not our terrorists. We're a little hypocritical here. You know what? If they are terrorists against Russia, they're not terrorists to some Americans.
The overwhelming, outstanding question is, and we have no reason to think at this point it's anything, Andrew, but two disaffected brothers, but if this was sponsored in any way, shape, or form by an organization, state-sponsored terrorism, and again, I'm not in any way implying that we have any indication that it is, but that's that big outstanding question. Where did these guys go? Where did this brother go for 6 months? Who gave the training? Where did the funding come from? At this point, there is no indication that there's a money trail here, but if it comes up, then it's a whole geopolitical mess here that we got on our hands.
Well, it begs the question, how would we react if it was, let's say, something that was based in Chechnya? Then, you know, that's a whole different issue because you got to deal with U.S.-Russian relations. There clearly was an influence from al-Qaeda, at least from what we've heard so far, if not directly, certainly in terms of providing them inspiration and some, you know, technical advice that's available on the internet. And that becomes another question, too. That's publicly available information, and do you go in and try to censor that to stop it from affecting kids who might be disposed to flip the way these two apparently seem to?
We're going to jump to a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to get into a whole host of thorny legal questions that have arisen here, and Mark is going to help us figure out from, should the surviving brother be treated as an American citizen? Should, as some people on Capitol Hill say, this guy should be treated as an enemy combatant? Should he get his Miranda rights read to him? And should certain populations in this country be singled out for special attention, given preponderance of the source of at least some of the anti-Americanism? These are some interesting questions and some scary questions that are being thrown around right now by some of our lawmakers. We're going to get into where the law weighs in on this as well. Stay with us.